The Williams family Thanksgiving table has never been quiet. Between Mama Williams humming gospel while basting the turkey, 3 overprotective brothers arguing about football, and enough side dishes to feed a small army, chaos is the family's love language. But this year? This year the table is dead silent. And it's all because of the man sitting next to Zara. Kang Ji-woo, former Mafia boss, current legitimate businessman, and the Korean man brave enough, or foolish enough, to date their baby girl, sits with perfect posture while 4 pairs of eyes dissect him like a biology experiment. Mama Williams breaks the silence first. She asks Zara, without looking away from Ji-woo, if this is the man who had her living in some penthouse playing fake fiancé while people were shooting at her. Zara chokes on her sweet tea. Ji-woo, calm as ever, responds that technically the shooting only happened once. And he took the bullet. Zara's oldest brother, Damon, leans forward. He asks Ji-woo to say that again. He wants to make sure he heard correctly. The man got their sister shot at? Zara tries to explain that she wasn't shot, Ji-woo was, while protecting her. But her second brother, Elijah, cuts her off. Oh, so bullets were just flying around her general direction. That's supposed to make them feel better? Marcus, the FBI agent brother who already knows Ji-woo, just sips his drink with a smirk. He's enjoying watching the man who once commanded Seoul's most powerful crime syndicate sweat under Mama Williams' gaze. Then Mama Williams asks the question that makes Ji-woo's blood run cold. She wants to know what his intentions are with her daughter. Ji-woo opens his mouth to answer, but before he can speak, the front door bursts open. And everything goes straight to hell. Wait, who just walked through that door? And why does Zara look like she's seen a ghost? If you're new here and have no idea how a Korean mafia boss ended up at a black family's Thanksgiving dinner in Atlanta, you need to go watch part 1 first. Trust me, it's wild. Link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Go watch it, then come right back. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the drama. Now, let's rewind a bit and see how we got to this mess. 3 days before Thanksgiving, Ji-woo was pacing his Seoul penthouse like a caged tiger. Min-jun, his right-hand man, watched with barely concealed amusement as his boss, a man who had stared down rival gang leaders without flinching, was completely unraveling over a family dinner. Ji-woo stopped pacing to ask Min-jun what Korean families bring when meeting the in-laws. Min-jun reminded him that Zara's family wasn't Korean. Ji-woo said he knew that, he wasn't stupid. Then he asked what American families expected. Southern American. Black Southern American. Was there a protocol? Should he bring gifts? What kind? How many? Min-jun suggested he just be himself. Ji-woo stared at him like he'd suggested jumping off a bridge. Be himself? He ran a crime syndicate for 10 years. Himself had ordered men to be buried in concrete. He couldn't be himself. Min-jun sighed. Perhaps a heavily edited version of himself, then. Zara video called at that exact moment. When Ji-woo answered, she immediately noticed the panic in his eyes. She asked if he was okay because he looked like someone threatened his life. Ji-woo said meeting her family felt worse than death threats, at least with death threats he knew what to expect. Zara laughed so hard she snorted, which only made Ji-woo's heart squeeze with affection. She really was the most chaotic, beautiful woman he'd ever met. She told him to relax. Her family didn't bite. Well, Damon might. And Elijah definitely would if provoked. And Mama Williams had a very specific look that could make a grown man cry. But besides that, totally fine. Ji-woo asked if it was too late to fake his own death. Zara grinned and told him she'd find him. She always did. The flight to Atlanta was 14 hours of Ji-woo reviewing what he called Williams family intelligence files. He had Min-jun compile dossiers on every family member. Zara discovered this when she glanced at his tablet and saw her mother's photo with bullet points underneath. She snatched the tablet. Did he do background checks on her family? Ji-woo defended himself. He liked to be prepared. Zara scrolled through the file in disbelief. He had her mother's church schedule, her pie recipes, and her voting record. Ji-woo pointed out that Patricia Williams made excellent sweet potato pie. He needed to know these things. Zara didn't know whether to be furious or impressed. She settled on both. She told him to delete it. All of it. He was meeting her family as her boyfriend, not conducting a hostile takeover. Ji-woo looked genuinely confused. He asked what the difference was. Zara dropped her head into her hands. She was in love with a lunatic. Ji-woo's voice softened. He said he just wanted them to like him. That was all. He'd never had to impress anyone's family before. His marriage to So-yeon was arranged. No one cared if he was likable, just powerful. But Zara's family? They loved her. They protected her long before he came along. He needed them to know he'd do the same. Forever. Zara's irritation melted. She took his hand and told him they would see it. They'd give him hell first because that's what the Williams family did, but they'd see his heart eventually. Ji-woo asked how long, eventually, usually took. Zara considered the question. Her last boyfriend, it took 4 years and they still didn't like him. Ji-woo asked what happened to that guy. Zara's expression flickered with something complicated. She said that was a story for another time. Ji-woo filed that information away. He didn't like the look on her face. There was history there, and not the good kind. They landed in Atlanta on Tuesday evening. Zara's childhood home was a beautiful brick house in a tree-lined neighborhood, warm light spilling from every window. Before they even reached the porch, the front door flew open. Mama Williams stood there, arms crossed, wearing an apron that said, "Lord, give me strength," with a wine glass printed underneath. She was a tall, elegant woman with silver-streaked natural hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing, and the kind of presence that commanded respect. She looked at Ji-woo from head to toe. Then back up. Then at Zara. She asked if this was him. The Korean Mafia? Ji-woo opened his mouth to clarify that he was no longer in the Mafia, he was a legitimate businessman now. Mama Williams held up one hand and he immediately went silent. She said she didn't recall asking him to speak. Then she turned to Zara and said they'd talk later. For now, he could come inside. But if he thought fancy suits and good looks would distract her from the fact that her baby got shot at on his watch, he had another thing coming. She turned and walked inside. Zara whispered to Ji-woo that it went better than expected. Ji-woo asked how that could possibly be considered good. Zara pointed out that her mother let him inside the house. Last time she brought someone home, he had to wait on the porch for 2 hours. Inside, the Williams home was everything Ji-woo's childhood wasn't. Warm, cluttered with family photos, smelling of cinnamon and something savory. Children's drawings hung on the fridge. A well-worn Bible sat on the coffee table. Laughter echoed from somewhere deeper in the house. Ji-woo felt like an alien encountering human life for the first time. Damon appeared first. 34, built like a linebacker, with a shaved head and a security company t-shirt stretched across his massive chest. He didn't offer a handshake. He just stared. Ji-woo stared back. He'd faced down men with guns. He refused to be intimidated by a very large, very angry older brother. Damon asked if Ji-woo was the one who had his sister living in a bulletproof apartment. Ji-woo confirmed. Damon asked if he was the one who got her involved in a gang war. Ji-woo specified it was a family dispute, not a gang war. Damon asked if bullets were involved. Ji-woo admitted there were. Damon said that was a gang war where he came from. Elijah came down the stairs next. 31, a lawyer, wearing glasses and a Howard University sweatshirt. He looked friendlier than Damon until he opened his mouth. He told Ji-woo he'd reviewed some international law and he was pretty sure he could find 17 ways to have him deported if necessary. Zara shouted Elijah's name in exasperation. He shrugged and said he was just being thorough. Ji-woo respected thoroughness, didn't he? Marcus entered from the kitchen, beer in hand, grinning like this was the best entertainment he'd had in years. He reminded his brothers that he already threatened Ji-woo's life once in Seoul and he seemed appropriately terrified. Damon said Marcus didn't count because he used government resources. This was personal. Mama Williams' voice rang out from the kitchen, telling her sons to stop terrorizing the man and let him breathe. They'd have plenty of time to interrogate him properly at dinner. Ji-woo looked at Zara with slight panic. properly sounded ominous. Zara patted his arm and told him to pace himself because they hadn't even gotten to the aunties yet. The aunties arrived Wednesday afternoon. 4 of them. Each more opinionated than the last. Aunt Beverly inspected Jiwoo like a prized horse, walking around him in a full circle. She declared that he was pretty but asked if he was sturdy. Zara almost passed out. Jiwoo, somehow maintaining composure, confirmed that he was sturdy. Aunt Denise asked how much money he made. Zara tried to intervene, but Jiwoo answered calmly that he was comfortable. Aunt Denise asked how comfortable, condo comfortable or private island comfortable. Jiwoo admitted he owned an island. All 4 aunties exchanged looks. Aunt Patricia, the quiet one, finally spoke. She said money was nice but she wanted to know if he'd be faithful. Their niece deserved a man who'd keep his vows. The room went quiet. Everyone knew Aunt Patricia's husband had cheated on her for years. The question carried weight. Jiwoo's answer was simple and direct. He said he'd spent 32 years building walls to keep people out. Zara broke through every single one. He'd burned down everything he owned before he let anything, or anyone, come between them. The aunties were silent. Then Aunt Beverly declared that she liked him. He was dramatic. She appreciated that. The chaos continued through Wednesday night. Jiwoo learned to play spades, badly, which resulted in Damon calling him a liability and refusing to be his partner ever again. He tried Mama Williams' sweet potato pie and made the mistake of saying it was acceptable, which resulted in a 30-minute lecture on appreciating culinary excellence. But slowly, something shifted. When he helped clear the dishes without being asked, Mama Williams gave him a small nod. When he sat patiently while the youngest niece braided his hair into tiny, terrible sections, Elijah cracked his first genuine smile. When he discussed security protocols with Damon and actually impressed him with his knowledge, the ice began to thaw. By Wednesday night, Jiwoo had almost relaxed. Almost. Then Thanksgiving morning arrived, and with it, the complication no one expected. Okay, Jiwoo is actually surviving. But I know y'all saw that door burst open at the beginning. The chaos hasn't even started yet. Hit that like button if you're loving this story, and drop a comment telling me which Williams family member is your favorite so far. Now let's get back to the drama because it's about to get messy. Zara was in the kitchen helping Mama Williams with the collard greens when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. Finally, Mama Williams told her to answer the thing before it gave them both a headache. Zara answered. The voice on the other end made her stomach drop. Damn, Zara. You really thought you could ghost me forever? The voice belonged to Terrence Mitchell. Her ex-boyfriend of 4 years. The reason she left Atlanta for Seoul in the first place. Zara stepped out of the kitchen, her voice low and tense. She asked how he got her number. Terrence laughed. He still had friends in her mama's church. They were worried about her, dating some foreign gangster. They thought maybe Terrence could talk some sense into her. Zara told him to lose her number and hung up. But the damage was done. Her hands were shaking. She hadn't thought about Terrence in over a year. She'd worked hard not to. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the way he'd slowly isolated her from everyone who loved her, it had taken her years to recognize it as abuse. Moving to Seoul wasn't just an adventure, it was an escape. Jiwoo found her on the back porch, arms wrapped around herself despite the mild Atlanta weather. He asked what was wrong. Zara tried to brush it off, saying it was nothing, just an old ghost. Jiwoo sat beside her and said he knew something about ghosts. They only had power if you let them stay hidden. Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then she told him about Terrence. How they'd dated through college. How charming he was at first. How the control started slowly, comments about her clothes, her friends, her ambitions. How by the end, she didn't recognize herself anymore. Jiwoo's jaw tightened with every word. When she finished, his voice was dangerously calm. He asked where Terrence was now. Zara recognized that tone. She told him no. Whatever he was thinking, no. She didn't need him fighting her battles. Terrence was in the past. Ji-woo said men like that don't stay in the past. They circle back. They always think they have a claim. Zara told him this was different. She was different now. Stronger. She had her family, her life, and she had him. Terrence couldn't touch any of that. Ji-woo took her hand. He said if Terrence ever came near her, he wouldn't need to do anything illegal. He'd simply destroy the man financially, socially, and professionally until he had nothing left. All perfectly legal. Zara laughed despite herself. She told him he was terrifying and she loved him. Ji-woo kissed her forehead. He said he loved her too, and that meant her enemies were his enemies. What neither of them knew was that Terrence was already on his way. And he wasn't coming alone. Thanksgiving dinner was set for 4 in the afternoon. The table was immaculate. Mama Williams didn't play when it came to presentation. Turkey, ham, mac and cheese, greens, cornbread, sweet potatoes, green beans, and 3 different pies covered every inch of available space. The family gathered, and for the first time, Ji-woo actually felt something close to belonging. Damon had stopped glaring. Elijah was explaining Korean business law with genuine interest. Marcus was teaching Ji-woo's southern slang, which resulted in him very seriously telling Aunt Beverly that her pie was bussin', which made her laugh until she cried. They were about to say grace when the doorbell rang. Mama Williams looked confused. Everyone who was supposed to be here was already present. Damon went to answer it. The voice that drifted back made Zara's blood freeze. Mrs. Williams. Happy Thanksgiving. I know I'm unexpected, but I was in the neighborhood and I thought. Zara was on her feet before she could think. She rounded the corner to see Terrence Mitchell standing in her mother's doorway, holding a bottle of wine and wearing his most charming smile. He was handsome in that conventional way, clean-cut, well-dressed, the kind of man mothers usually loved. But that was before they knew what he really was. What Zara didn't expect was the man standing behind Terrence. Younger, maybe mid-20s, with sharp features and cold eyes that seemed strangely familiar. Terrence's smile widened when he saw her. There she was. His Zara. She looked good. Really good. He tried to step forward, but Damon's massive arm blocked the doorway. Damon said Terrence wasn't invited. Terrence should leave. Terrence laughed, that easy manipulative laugh Zara remembered too well. He said he and Zara had history. Surely the Williams family wouldn't turn away an old friend on Thanksgiving? Mama Williams appeared, her expression stone cold. She said Terrence stopped being a friend to this family when she found out how he treated her daughter. He needed to leave her property before she called the police. Terrence's smile faltered but didn't disappear. Fine, he said. He'd leave. But his friend needed to deliver a message first. The young man behind Terrence stepped forward, and that's when Ji-woo appeared in the hallway. The recognition was instant, and devastating. Ji-woo said the name like a curse. Soo-hyun. The young man smiled, and suddenly Zara saw it, the resemblance. The same sharp jawline, the same intense eyes, though colder. This was Ji-woo's younger brother. The one who'd betrayed him years ago. Soo-hyun greeted his brother casually, saying it had been a while. The room crackled with tension. Marcus's hand moved toward his concealed weapon. Damon shifted into a fighting stance. Elijah was already on his phone, ready to call for backup. Ji-woo's voice was ice. He asked what Soo-hyun was doing here. How did he find them? Why was he with? And then it clicked. Ji-woo looked at Terrence, then at Soo-hyun, and his expression shifted from shock to fury. Ji-woo said that Terrence didn't find Zara through church friends. He found her through Soo-hyun. His brother had been watching them. Stalking them. Soo-hyun shrugged. He said he preferred the term monitoring. And could they come inside? He had much to discuss and he'd rather not do it on a porch. Mama Williams said absolutely not. These men were not stepping foot in her home. Soo-hyun's expression didn't change. He suggested she reconsider. Unless she wanted certain information about her daughter's new boyfriend reaching the wrong authorities. Information that could put him away for a very long time. The threat hung in the air. Ji-woo's past wasn't fully clean. There were things, buried things, that could still destroy him if they surfaced. Zara stepped forward, putting herself between Soo-hyun and her family. She told him if he had something to say, he could say it to her. Leave everyone else out of this. Soo-hyun studied her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. He said he could see why his brother was so obsessed. She was magnificent. Brave, beautiful, loyal. Everything Ji-woo didn't deserve. Ji-woo moved forward with murder in his eyes, but Zara caught his arm. Soo-hyun continued, saying he'd been watching Zara for months. Since Seoul. Since she kissed his brother at that wedding and changed everything. At first, he was just gathering intelligence. But the more he watched, the more he understood. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. He said Zara was wasted on Ji-woo. His brother was cold, broken, incapable of real love. But Soo-hyun had seen how she transformed him. She had a gift. Imagine what she could do with someone who wasn't already damaged beyond repair. Zara's response was immediate and sharp. She said she'd rather eat glass. Terrence snorted. He muttered that she always did have a mouth on her. Zara whirled on him. And Terrence, what was he getting out of this? Terrence's eyes darkened. He said Soo-hyun had offered him an opportunity. Help deliver this message, and he'd be rewarded. Handsomely. Zara laughed bitterly. Some things never changed. Terrence was still a pathetic man controlled by whoever had the deepest pockets. Terrence's charming mask slipped, revealing the ugly truth beneath. He called her a stupid girl, saying she thought she was so special running off to Korea and finding some rich criminal to take care of her. She was nothing without a man propping her up. She always had been. The entire Williams family moved as one. Damon grabbed Terrence by the collar and lifted him off the ground. Marcus had his weapon drawn. Elijah was reciting laws Terrence had just broken. And Mama Williams picked up the wine bottle Terrence had brought and smashed it on the porch railing, holding the broken neck like a weapon. She told Terrence he had 5 seconds to get off her property before she showed him how they handled disrespectful men in her generation. Terrence was thrown off the porch. He scrambled to his feet, all pretense of charm gone, and fled to his car. But Soo-hyun remained. Calm. Unbothered. Ji-woo finally spoke, his voice raw. He asked why. After everything, why couldn't Soo-hyun just leave him alone? Soo-hyun's cold facade cracked slightly. He asked if Ji-woo truly didn't understand. Ji-woo had always been the favorite, the heir, the one their father trusted. When Soo-hyun made one mistake, he was cast out. Erased. He'd spent years clawing his way back, building his own power, and now he finally had leverage. He looked at Zara again. He said she was the leverage. Ji-woo would do anything for her. Anything to keep her safe. Which meant Soo-hyun finally had exactly what he needed to bring his brother to his knees. Zara spoke before Ji-woo could. She told Soo-hyun he'd made a critical miscalculation. Soo-hyun raised an eyebrow, asking what that was. Zara smiled, and it wasn't kind. She said he assumed she needed protecting. She stepped forward, and something in her posture shifted, from defensive to dangerous. She told him she'd survived Terrence's manipulation for 4 years. She'd crashed a Mafia wedding, faced down assassins, and helped take apart one of Seoul's most powerful crime families. She wasn't Ji-woo's weakness. She was his partner. And if Soo-hyun thought he could use her as a pawn, he'd severely underestimated who he was dealing with. Mama Williams added that Soo-hyun had also underestimated this family. They protected their own. And Zara's man was their own now, whether they liked it or not. Damon cracked his knuckles. Elijah held up his phone, showing Soo-hyun he'd been recording the entire conversation. Marcus reminded everyone that threatening a federal agent's family was a serious crime. Soo-hyun's composure finally cracked. He hadn't expected this. He'd expected a soft American family, easily frightened. Not this united front of terrifying individuals ready to destroy him. Ji-woo stepped forward, standing beside Zara. He told his brother to leave. Whatever Soo-hyun thought he had, whatever leverage he believed existed, it wasn't worth what would happen if he continued down this path. He said he was done being haunted by Soo-hyun's resentment. Done carrying guilt for their father's choices. If Soo-hyun wanted a war, he'd get one. But if he walked away now, today, it ended here. Soo-hyun stared at his brother for a long moment. Something flickered in his eyes, pain, maybe, or longing. Then it was gone. He said this wasn't over and left. The Williams family stood in silence until his car disappeared down the street. Then Mama Williams broke the tension. She announced that the turkey was getting cold, and she did not slave over that bird for it to go to waste because of dramatic Koreans and sorry ex-boyfriends. Everyone inside. Now. Zara looked at Ji-woo, worried. His face was unreadable. She asked if he was okay. He wasn't okay. His brother had just threatened everything he loved. But when he looked at Zara, at her family rallying around him like he was one of their own, something loosened in his chest. He told her he would be okay. Thanks to her. Thanks to them. Damon clapped him on the shoulder, hard enough to hurt, but also somehow affectionate. He told Ji-woo to come on. They needed to teach him how to properly eat a Williams family Thanksgiving dinner. No more acceptable. He needed enthusiasm. The rest of Thanksgiving was chaos in the best way. They ate too much, laughed too loud, and somewhere between Aunt Beverly's fourth glass of wine and the family's aggressive game of charades, Ji-woo realized he'd never felt more at home in his life. Later that night, when the house had finally quieted, Zara found Ji-woo on the back porch, staring at the stars. She sat beside him and asked what he was thinking about. He admitted he was thinking about family. How he'd always believed his was broken beyond repair. His mother left, his father was cold, his brother became an enemy. He thought that was just what family meant, obligation and pain. Zara rested her head on his shoulder. She said family could be that. But it could also be this. Loud, messy, overprotective people who threaten to destroy anyone who hurt you. Ji-woo smiled slightly. He said her mother was genuinely terrifying. More than any crime boss he'd ever faced. Zara laughed. She said Mama Williams had that effect. She asked if he still wanted to be part of this crazy family. Ji-woo turned to face her fully. He said he wanted to be part of every part of her life. The chaos, the drama, the aunties who asked inappropriate questions about his finances. All of it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Zara's eyes went wide. She started to say his name, but he stopped her. He said he knew he'd given her a promise ring before. He knew they said they'd wait, let things develop naturally. But nearly losing everything today made him realize he was done waiting. He opened the box. Inside was a stunning ring, a black diamond surrounded by smaller stones, unique and bold, exactly like her. He said this wasn't a proposal. Not yet. Her mother would kill him if he proposed without asking her blessing first, and honestly, that woman terrified him more than his own past. Zara laughed through sudden tears. He continued, saying this was an upgrade. From a promise to a commitment. He was telling her, and himself, and everyone who tried to come between them, that this was permanent. She was his future. If she'd have him. Zara looked at the ring, then at him. She asked if he was really asking her to be his forever, on her mama's back porch, at 11:30 at night, after the most dramatic Thanksgiving in Williams family history. Ji-woo considered this. He admitted when she said it like that, it did seem very on brand for their relationship. Zara grabbed his face and kissed him. Hard. When she pulled back, she was grinning through tears. She said yes. Obviously yes. Always yes. Ji-woo slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. From inside the house, they heard Aunt Beverly's voice shouting that she knew something was happening on that porch. She demanded details immediately. Zara groaned. She said they'd never have peace, not with her family. Ji-woo pulled her close. He said he didn't want peace. Peace was boring. He wanted this, love that was messy and complicated and worth fighting for. Zara kissed him again. She said she loved him. He said he loved her too. More than she'd ever know. The door burst open and suddenly the entire Williams family was on the porch, demanding to see the ring, crying, hugging, and generally causing exactly the kind of chaos that had become the soundtrack of Ji-woo's new life. 3 days later, they returned to Seoul. The threat of Soo-hyun still lingered, but somehow it felt smaller now. Ji-woo had an army behind him, not men with guns, but a family who'd fight to the death with broken wine bottles and legal threats. At the airport, Mama Williams hugged Ji-woo so tight he thought his ribs might crack. She told him he was family now, which meant she'd pray for him every Sunday, and also she expected him at Christmas, no excuses. Ji-woo promised to be there. Mama Williams pointed a finger at him and said if he hurt her daughter, no amount of money or power would protect him from her wrath. He said he understood completely. On the flight home, Zara fell asleep against his shoulder, the new ring glinting on her finger. Ji-woo stayed awake, watching the clouds pass beneath them, thinking about everything that had changed. A year ago, he was a man trapped by duty, preparing to marry a woman who wanted him dead. Now he was flying home with the love of his life, accepted by a family that had every reason to hate him, facing the future without fear for the first time in his life. All because a stranger in a red dress crashed his wedding and kissed him. Life, he decided, was absurd. Beautifully, wonderfully absurd. When they landed in Seoul, Min-jun was waiting with the car. He asked how Thanksgiving went. Ji-woo smiled, actually smiled, and said it was perfect. Min-jun stared. He said Ji-woo looked different. Lighter somehow. Ji-woo said he felt lighter. As they drove through Seoul, Zara woke up and reached for his hand. She asked what he was smiling about. He told her he was thinking about next Thanksgiving. Maybe they should invite her whole family to Seoul. Zara laughed and said her mother on a 14-hour flight surrounded by aunties was a terrifying concept. Ji-woo grinned. He said he'd survive. After all, he'd survived Thanksgiving with the Williams family. Everything else was easy by comparison. Zara squeezed his hand. She told him he hadn't even experienced Christmas yet. That was a whole different level. Ji-woo asked how bad it could be. Zara just smiled mysteriously. He'd see. For the first time in his life, Kang Ji-woo genuinely looked forward to finding out. Whatever chaos awaited, whatever enemies emerged, whatever drama unfolded, he'd face it all. Because he wasn't facing it alone anymore. He had Zara. He had a family. He had a future worth fighting for. And honestly, that was more than he'd ever dared to dream. And that is the Williams family chaos you all asked for. Ji-woo survived Thanksgiving, faced down his evil brother, handled Zara's toxic ex, and won over Mama Williams. If this story had you screaming at your screen, hit that like button and let me know your favorite moment in this story. Share this video with every friend who loves drama, romance, and found family because this story is too good to keep to yourself. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. And tell me in the comments, which Williams family member would you want at your Thanksgiving? I'm personally Team Aunt Beverly because that woman chose violence with that wine bottle and I respected it. Until next time, stay messy, stay in love, and remember, the best families are the ones who'll threaten your enemies on a porch while the turkey gets cold. I'll see you in the next one.